Today we're taking a look at the Zhiyun Smooth 5S. This is a 3-axis smartphone gimbal that can help take your smartphone videos to the next level. The 5S does offer improvements over the standard Smooth 5, including a built-in LED light, as well as stronger motor performance, which allows it to support larger smartphones. I've used it with my iPhone 14 Pro Max, and it's had no issue handling the size or weight. In addition to the gimbal, it comes with a set of tripod legs and a USB Type-C cable. If you go with the 5S combo, it comes with a protective bag, a wrist strap, a magnetic fill light, as well as some light filters. On the front of the gimbal, you have the control panel, which features a number of controls, including the mode button, the joystick, and the record button. On the left side, you have your focus or zoom wheel. On the right, you have your power button. And then on the back is where you have your charging port as well as your trigger. As far as the setup process, you want to grab the gimbal with the control panel facing towards you. From there, you want to unlock all 3 motors. And I found that it's easiest to go from top to bottom, starting with the tilt axis by pulling it toward you. Moving over to the roll axis, you want to do the opposite by pushing it away from you. And then for the pan axis, there's simply a switch on the back which unlocks it. From there, you want to place the gimbal on a flat surface and install your phone. You'll need to decide if you want to go landscape or portrait, and depending on your choice, all you have to do is rotate the mount. In order to balance the gimbal, you have to adjust the position of the control arm by loosening the knob and adjusting it back and forth until it seems level. After that, you're pretty much ready to go. You can turn it on by pressing and holding the power button. The gimbal has some pretty impressive battery life with around 25 hours on a full charge. It also supports power delivery to your phone thanks to a secondary USB-C port. However, if you're using your phone in landscape mode, it doesn't leave much room to fit a charging cable into the bottom of your phone. The gimbal can obviously be used with your phone's native camera app. However, for the best compatibility, there are 2 apps that provide the best user experience, and those are Cami and Stacam. There are some differences between the 2, which we'll talk more about shortly. Either way you go, you'll need to download the app and go through the process of creating a login profile. Pretty standard procedures: type in your email, come up with a password, so on and so forth. Starting with the Cami app, the user interface is fairly straightforward. Obviously, you can touch your phone screen to make any adjustments to your settings, or you can use the control panel of the gimbal. The menu button takes you to a list of templates, which you can use to make quick highlight reels with very minimal effort. I recommend giving these a shot when you first get started, because they can give you some good ideas on how to use the gimbal. Pressing up on the scroll wheel takes you to your video settings, where you can choose your resolution as well as your frame rate. You simply use the scroll wheel to make any adjustments. Pressing down on the scroll wheel takes you to your gallery, allowing you to review any of your footage. Pressing the menu button serves as the back button and takes you back to the live preview screen. The button in the middle of the scroll wheel activates the LED light, and you can adjust the brightness by rotating the scroll wheel. With the joystick, you're able to manually control your phone's position, and the mode button allows you to cycle through the different follow modes, which are pan follow, locked, follow mode, point of view, and vortex. We'll talk more about what each mode does later in the video. You also have the record button, which allows you to start and stop, and with a double press, it allows you to switch between the rear cameras and the selfie camera. The zoom wheel allows you to zoom in or out, switching between the different lenses as you go. Single pressing the trigger on the back of the gimbal activates tracking mode. It allows you to identify your subject with a square, and the gimbal will track your subject and keep it in frame as you record. If you ever need to quickly bring your phone back to center, a double press of the trigger does the trick. A triple press of the trigger puts the gimbal in selfie mode, allowing you to record selfie videos using the rear cameras. And then a press and hold of the trigger puts the gimbal in sports mode, which increases the responsiveness, making it a good option for fast action footage. Moving over to the Stacam app, again, the user interface is pretty straightforward. Pressing up on the scroll wheel allows you to choose your resolution and frame rate, and the menu button still acts as the back button. Pressing left on the scroll wheel allows you to remove the settings from the screen if you want a cleaner display. To bring the settings back, you simply press the menu button. Pressing down on the scroll wheel takes you to your gallery, and pressing right on the scroll wheel allows you to go from automatic to manual mode, even giving you full control over your settings, including shutter speed, ISO, and white balance. With the Cami app, you're not able to adjust these settings from the gimbal itself. The zoom wheel obviously allows you to control your zoom, but it also allows for manual focus mode by pressing the button in the center of the zoom wheel. If you want to go back to autofocus mode, you can simply tap your phone screen. The joystick, LED light, record button, and trigger functions all work the same as with the Cami app. The only exception is that there is no subject tracking mode. Now, as far as the 5 different follow modes, the first is pan follow. In this mode, the gimbal only follows movements on the pan axis, so that's going to be any side-to-side movement. Next is locked mode. In this mode, all 3 motors are locked. The gimbal won't follow any of your movements. No matter which way you turn or tilt the camera, it stays facing the same way. After that is follow mode, and in this mode, the gimbal will follow your sideways movements as well as your tilt movements. This is a good mode for filming areas or environments with multiple points of interest. Next is POV mode, and in this mode, all 3 motors respond to your movements. So the pan axis, the tilt axis, and the roll axis are all active. You can get pretty creative with this mode, but I will say that too much movement will make your footage hard to watch. The last mode is vortex mode. This mode allows you to capture 360-degree vortex shots, which you could use to make some really cool transitions. When you pair the camera quality of today's smartphones with a stabilizer like the Zhiyun Smooth 5S, you can capture some very impressive shots. This is actually the first smartphone gimbal I've ever owned, so I don't have much to compare it to, but based on my experience so far, there's not much to complain about. The setup process is fairly simple, it has great battery life, and is strong enough to support larger smartphones like my iPhone 14 Pro Max. So if you're interested, feel free to check out the purchase link down in the description. And aside from that, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.